Hi everyone, she's Trixie and I'm Sarah, and this is Our Yarn World, a place where we come to share the love of yarn crafts and all that it gives us and what we hope it gives you. We're on episode 143 today, and I would like hopefully some sympathy from you viewers because yes, last week we did attempt to make this episode twice, and things happened that really put me out of being willing to film a third time to attempt to do just this one video and being able to show you guys all that we have done. It was...
So, we apologize for missing a couple of weeks.
It was... Yeah, it was a lot. It was a lot. So we do apologize, but we are here and we have a lot to show you because we have been gone for a couple of weeks. So
this whole table is filled
with stuff.
So
it's fun. Stop it.
To begin, Sarah and I went on a small vacation with the kids for a week, and we didn't want to bring the big crafts. Well, I didn't want to bring the big crafts, which was that big, huge blanket that I've been working on.
Well, it was going to be heavy with how stifling hot it was there.
Yeah, it was so hot. Anyway, so I opted when we went on a shopping day to buy some yarn. Let's see. Some Woolies Thick and Quick. It's a super bulky 6. And it's in the colorway Carousel. And I was telling Sarah that I need a cup holder for my cup because in the car, because I took the
rubber insert
out because it didn't fit the bottom of my to-go cup. This does not taper. So it didn't fit the insert, but it also did not fit when the insert was taken out. It danced.
Yeah.
It danced around in my car, and it made a lot of noise, and I would have to put my arm on it while I was driving to get it to stand still. Therefore, I needed something inside the cup holder to keep it in place. And so I made a cup holder that fits inside, my cup fits inside this, and this fits inside the cup holder. And now it doesn't dance around anymore. And so this is made by...
Oh.
She had to tell me how to do it.
So I had her do a chain two method start, which is an alteration to the magic ring. Either way, you're starting going in a circle, starting by crocheting onto a thread, not a foundation. Your foundation is within that circle. You are putting 6 single crochets. That's your first row, and then from there you are multiplying 6 times each row evenly. So first, the next row would be all increases. You would take that 6 to a 12. The next one you're doing 1 single crochet to an increase, which spaces your increases out by 1, meaning that you have 18 the next one. The following one would be 24 because you're doing now 2 single crochets to an increase, spacing it out 1 more increase by 6, making it 24. And I think that's as far as we went before we went up, because once you don't want to go out in the circle this direction and you want to go up and go into the going from mostly like a 2-dimensional shape that's flat to a 3-dimensional shape that goes into the 4th dimension, you're going to want to go up. You don't increase, you just allow it to start building on top of itself, so you just keep going. And I think that was 24 stitches at that point.
That was so funny though, because I hit the bottom of my thing. I got the exact measurement of that and started going up, and then I didn't measure my cup holder.
No.
And I was just sitting there and I was doing this and I thought, that looks big enough, and my cup fit in there perfectly, as you saw. And then I put it into the cup holder and it was even with it. I'm like, I don't know how I did that, but it was perfect. So now every time I put my cup into my car, I am so pleased with the result of this. And just to have something in there to keep the cup from spilling all over the place.
It's like the to-go cup has a sock.
Yeah.
And it fits snugly now in its boot. Whatever little give, it was like the boot was one size too big or a half size too big, and you put that sock on, that wool sock on, and all of a sudden it works.
And you're not going to get a blister.
Nope.
And the second thing that I wanted was, in the summertime, your seatbelt cuts into your neck. You don't have all the extra clothing on, you don't have all the extra layers on, and so I wanted something to make sure that the seatbelt was not going to cut into my neck. So I made a rectangle. It's not perfect. None of this is. I just did the best I could, and we bought a little zipper at Walmart as well. It was only $1.
But it was a pocket zipper. It was not an
Yes.
apparel zipper where it's meant to actually have a tooth that takes it off and the teeth separate. It had a stopper at the end, so it zipped to that point, and then you would bring it back in so you wouldn't lose the zipper.
Yeah.
And it wasn't meant for what we wanted it for. We wanted it as if it was a hoodie jacket instead of just a pocket zipper. And
Right. So we didn't do it. That was not correct, but it works for now until I can get this on and just whip stitch it onto my seatbelt. But it has a zipper, and we had to cut the bottom off to get it onto the seatbelt. And so now when you take the zipper down, the zipper pull actually comes completely off, which is not ideal. And when you're driving with it on, all you keep thinking is, don't pull apart, or don't let the zipper come down to the point where you're going to lose the zipper head. And so when this video is over, I will be whip stitching this together, and I will be whip stitching it right to the seatbelt itself, and I won't have to worry about that part anymore. So yep, I made that out of the same material, and so that was projects that I could do while I was there on vacation. But while we were there, the kids had $25 each from birthday, Christmas money, and all this stuff that Sarah allowed them to bring for their vacation. And we got to go on a shopping day, and we went into the toy department. Canyon found something right away.
An RC Mario Kart race car.
Locked onto that thing, carried around the store, didn't change his mind one time at all.
Which you seem to be very impressed about.
I am, because for a 4-year-old, that is really something when you're in a toy department. But that's what he wanted, and that's what he got. Olivia, we went to the doll section.
She was more strategic.
And she got 2 dolls, which was really surprising because these dolls are not cheap.
She found them on clearance.
Yeah. And a set of clothes, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
little
so
extra wardrobe for the dolls.
she was happy. And so we get back where we're staying, and she tells me, Nana, you need to get your own doll so that you can play with me. So after we got home, I did order a Rainbow High doll called Pinkley Page. And she wears glasses. She's curvy, like me. She's got pink hair. I don't have that, but I do love pink. And she's got a cat, which I don't have, I used to, named Bubblegum. My favorite color is bubblegum pink. So it was just kind of all around really cool. Also, she makes videos, and it was just like the perfect doll for me. Anyway, here's the doll. I've got her on a stand, and she is really, really cute. And my granddaughter and I have a lot of fun together. But Well, when I got home, I thought, you know what? I need to make her a little blanket, as I do, right? I always have a blanket that I have to make for everybody. And so I went into my stash and I found a bunch of scraps. Just the prettiest stuff that I could find. And one of them was this. Let me see if I can get it to, okay. Can you see all those colors? Just beautiful, right? And it looks kind of like an old film strip. And this is all that I've got left of this. But it was one of those things that I got from the thrift store, and you know, those bags of things that you get. And it is called trellis yarn, Lion brand trellis yarn.
And wasn't it called stained glass?
And yes, I'm looking for the, yes, it's called stained glass.
The people who make the names are just so clever.
They're brilliant. And
Good Lord.
so I paired it with a Christmas sparkle yarn, and in white, it's called white tinsel, because it's got a wrap around of metallic yarn around each of the strand. So I paired it with that, and I made, oh gosh, let me get that out of the way. I made her a little blanket.
A little scrappy blanket.
Yeah. And I did the same thing as I do for the personalized blankets that I make for people. I make it so that it goes over both shoulders and past the feet. So let me turn her around. So it goes past both shoulders and past her feet. And this is just something that I decided I wanted to do just so that I could have it. And then with other scrappy yarn, this was a thicker yarn, and I paired it with that Christmas yarn again, and it's not perfect, but it's really, really thick. And I just figured this could be her pillow. Just something to lay her head on so that she's got something to lay on. And so she's got a pillow, she's got a blanket, and of course now when I showed my granddaughter, she was like, but Nana, now my dolls have to have them. She's got 5 of them. So I sat my little behind down, and I've got all kinds of. Now I went to my friend Jane's house and I was working on these pillows, and I just took my scrap yarn and I paired it with another yarn, and I tried to get them all with sparkle in it because that's what she loves. So I've got the pink and gray, I've got the green and pink, the pink and white, the green and gray, and pink and white. And this one was like a variegated, but it stuck in the pinks while I was doing it. So I've got the 5 pillows for her dolls, but then she had to have blankets. So I again did 2 yarns together. These are all half double crochets. So I have the pink and white, the pinks and white, and this is almost, I think, is my favorite one.
Oh, wow.
That looks summer to me. All the summer
I know
colors.
which one she's going to do for sunshine.
I know, sunny. Yep. We've got blue with pinks, blue with teal and pink and purple, and mint with white. And that's the blankets that I made for my granddaughter's dolls. She doesn't even know these are existing yet. But after the video, I will be giving them to her. So I think that's it. Now I have been working on that big blanket, but I will show that to you next week. And what have you been working on? Not that I can't see the rest of this table, but these guys don't know.
I'm trying to think of what to start with. Okay. Shoot.
I love it.
Sorry. I'll show that to you later. I'm working on my keychains. I'm working on different designs. And I've also been working on a bigger project.
She worked on it during our vacation and she perfected it.
I am going to show you the small things real quick and then go into that. So, I'm trying to think which one to do. Alright, well, okay, so you guys have seen my candy corn keychains, but you haven't seen them now. So what I did was I put like jack-o'-lantern faces on them with just 2 buttons and a little zigzag that reminds me of like Charlie Brown.
It does. It really does.
On that yellow. And I know it's not perfect, but I feel that that little sense of homemade is very evident with how it looks. And it just kind of, it gives it a little bit more pizzazz.
The aesthetic of Halloween isn't perfect either.
No, it's meant to be homemade, handcraft.
Yeah.
It's supposed to look rustic.
The pumpkins are supposed to be hand done, you know.
And when I was on, and that happened, I got those done when I was on vacation. But I also was working on a different keychain design. And these little porkers
are the best.
I made pigs in a blanket. Granny square, of course. And don't worry, they do have their little curly tails.
The little piggy tails.
But yes, I made a whole bunch of these, and I've been getting a lot of people telling me how much they love them. And so these are currently going to be going up on my keychain thing. So yeah, I made pigs in a blanket. And I've showed you what my planet keychain looked like from before. And I've been just trying to think of all the different ways I can make it. And what I did was I just made a whole bunch of balls, crocheted balls, and the size of the planets that I wanted them to be. And when I did the rings, I was like, how do I want to suspend the color? Because the last time I did it, it was this like one solid color. And this time I found this yarn that was black, but that had flecks of color in it. I know you can't really, yeah, you can kind of see it. It has a whole bunch of flecks of color, and I felt that that looked like galaxy. And then I just had this kind of shimmery white yarn that I placed with it as the little rings that orbit the planets. And I realize they're not perfect, but again, you can see what they are. They are planets. They kind of mimic Saturn, and I think that people are going to enjoy these as well. But because I've been thinking about planet themes for these, I've been like, okay, I want to do rocket ships, I want to do shooting stars, or maybe crescent moons. I have a whole bunch of things, but the planets I thought were pretty cool. But I was like, a lot of these ideas, I'm not going to lie, I got them from Pinterest. And I made my own patterns off of the inspirations of other people's work. But when it came to this, I saw someone do something similar to what I'm about to show you on Pinterest. And I was trying to make it my own. I was trying to figure it out. And the idea was an alien in a saucer. And my first one was this guy. where the alien head is just peeking out of the saucer, and I was trying to do it where it's like lights flashing, kind of like a saucer with strobing lights, so I did the orange and the yellow. But I kind of combined it like a cookie, like how you just layer it with like one row, this next section, this section, and I didn't really like how it came out personally. I thought that it was very flat. I thought it just didn't have what I was looking for, and so my son now has a little alien that he really likes. My second prototype had more shape, actually looks like a saucer, and it has a little bit more pizzazz. It's now a little alien on a tripod saucer, but the alien's head pops out. Kind of like my the pop-out mushrooms I shared with you guys. And so I'm trying to perfect this pattern currently because I think that these would be something that people would like as a pattern for that I could sell. But yeah, I did it in this size and I was like, okay, this is good, but I don't know if this is the right size for a keychain. So I attempted it smaller. I did so this was at a 5mm size. So I did it at a 3mm size. And now I got this little guy in a little saucer, and his head pops up too. And I love this one. This one's not leaving my side. This guy's going with me forever. Like, this guy is so small. Like, compared to the planet's bigger than him. And I think he's just hilarious. Like a very obvious 2D movie where they're trying to make the props themselves look like they're special effects.
Yeah.
But I was like, okay, all right. I think it needs to be a bit bigger. So my next one is going to, because I feel like this is too small for a keychain. So my idea is I've done the 5mm, I've done the 3, so I'm gonna try a 4.
Okay.
I figured that the 4 is probably gonna be right in that sweet spot.
Yeah.
Because what I've noticed and what you'll see next is that I have done this a couple of times now. Because my daughter was kind of like, you made Caniel aliens, what about me? So I made, and you have one and you won't let me have that one. So I made her one. I made her one and it's a pink alien. And she likes it. But this time, the kids have been telling me at this point, where's the 3-eyed alien? Why aren't you making 3-eyed aliens? So I decided I wanted to test out my pattern because my pattern was kind of fleshed out at this point when it came to acrylic yarn. But I was like, the smaller they are, the much more detailed and firm, and the ability for it to pop up and down seems to be much more nice. Because like, this feels still a little too cushiony, a little too flimsy, and the head still just felt, I don't know. Personally, I think that these would be great toys no matter what.
Yeah.
But for the sense of being able to be well loved and abused if they're on a keychain, the smaller one at this point was the greatest one I've made. But I think that the 4 is still going to be a good in-between between the two. My next thing is that I was like, if I were to make this pattern, and I was already writing it down, trying to perfect it, I was like, I need to test it out with other fabrics. Because what if someone wants to try it with...
As a baby toy
like
or something.
Yeah, like a big blanket yarn. And so I made him. And yes, he does stand on his tripods. And he's a 3-eyed alien. And yes, did this turn out well? It did, because I had to make alterations to the neck. When it came to the decreases at this point, I ended up having to go in with a string and actually tighten them instead of leaving them as they were in just the decreases themselves, because it was not tight enough to go in and pop out.
Okay.
So I noticed that with the bigger sizes, my alien head pattern so far with how I attach it and how I go up needs to change, which also makes me think, I think that that's the reason why these don't pop up the way that I like it, because I couldn't see it because it was so small. So I'm thinking that a good way for me to test my patterns when I'm doing something and I like it when it's small, but I feel like I'm not getting it right, is I'm going to start making them bigger and see what I think my corrections could be in a bigger scale so that I can flesh out my kinks and my stumbling points on a bigger thing so I can actually see where I feel is the problem.
Yeah.
So this is still good. I'm not saying this is bad. I think that this is still going to make a kid happy and whatever, but before I give that pattern out to the world, it's going to be something that I get a little bit better. So, yeah. And you know what? I'm going to save this for next week. I'm already working on a different keychain pattern. So, my grand finale for what I made while I was on vacation is something my mom's really in love with. There's a lady on Facebook that I've been following, and she crochets handmade purses for a living, and I cannot find her. She was on my feed constantly, and now that I follow her, she's not popping up on my FYP anymore. So I don't know where she is. But if I find her, I'll have my mom link her down below. She's amazing. Great. And she makes a type of bag purse that is called a marshmallow purse. Based off of the crochet stitch that it has its primary look after. And because it's a marshmallow stitch. These purses have been so popular recently, and I noticed that they do have written patterns on Etsy if you were looking for it, but I found a video pattern that was for free, and I was like, okay, I really want to go in. I really want to show my all. But as we're up at the trailer, we barely had Wi-Fi. We barely had data. We barely could get anything to play when it came to it needing to go to the satellite and back down to us from a tower. It was crazy. And so I barely got the tips of the video. I had the picture that I knew what I wanted it to be in my head, and all the hardware, all the lining stuff, all the fabric that I got, and the material, because the material is something I've never used before, something special, for me at least, and it's called t-shirt yarn. And I made this it's very heavy.
Yes, that's what I was going to say.
Bag. Now, it's heavy because I did take a chain, and there is also a little thing I made, but, the style of the bag is kind of like a crossbody style, and so I got a chain, and they were suggesting, based off of how their end products looked, because again, my video wasn't really working, to weave in a chain, in the chain, part of the material so that it really corresponded with the bag well. And I obviously
it does too.
And here's a tip. I'd already paid and already had an idea for the yarn. I had already paid for this color. But I went to Joann's, and I could not personally see what this color matched with very well.
Right.
So what I did was I went to Joann's and I found a material that had the color and therefore had all the colors that matched well with it. And that let me know bronze would be the best color for the hardware. So all the D-rings that I used, and the chain is able to be taken off so that you can just hold it like this. And I obviously use that as the lining for the bag, that material, and I end up making a little tassel because that's how the people were showing it off. And again, I wasn't really able to follow the pattern because the Wi-Fi wasn't good. I was able to get to the foundation chain and just like 2 rows in, and that was barely setting me off because I had to redo the main bag portion like 5 times because I was struggling with this puppy stitch because I could not get the tutorial to go, so I kept putting the top row off of where it needed to line up.
Well, I think you had a problem with your tension too.
And my tension was off because this stuff is it's actual material. It's woven cotton material, like a t-shirt.
Yeah.
And so it's stretchy, and you need it to
thicker.
And yes. And whereas everyone's like, you just need a 6mm hook, I had to choose mine up to an 8, I think, or was it a 9? No, it was an 8, I think. I tried to do a 9 at one of my attempts, and that ended up being too loose, and then I had too many holes in my material.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is a pride and joy. Right now, my husband is planning to show this off to, so he is one of the youth leaders at the church that he goes to, and he has a lot of we have a lot of friends there, you know, and he wants to show it off there and see what the teenagers think, you know, people that would go to prom and take special bags to prom, or just the just having people appraise it, not buy it, because for me to be able to know whether something's going to work, I would rather it be appraised by people that will give me true criticism, that will not be cruel, like at a marketplace, and that they know they're never going to see me again, so they can just say what they want and go, like the internet. These are people that are going to give me real criticism, tell me what they like and what they don't like about it, and what they would want to see themselves buying.
Yeah.
And so I'm hoping that I get a good review. I know that I did a good job. But for you all, I will have the link to the homemade video to be able to have this pattern for free. I did a lot of this in my head. Like, they started the chain and then I had to go from there. A lot of it was not me following their pattern. It was them helping me start it, and then I had to go from there.
But she does this a lot with sight unseen. She just sees it a little bit and can run with it.
I've also saw that creator show vlogs of her doing like 30-second to 1 minute shots of how she would assemble bags quickly through either a good editing or just how she did it, and it was sped up. So I did have an understanding as to what was trying to be accomplished here and how it was kind of supposed to be made very very seamless. My words. It was supposed to go very smoothly.
Yeah.
How it was supposed to go without any kinks or anything if you just knew what you were doing. And so it took a couple of tries. There was nights that even up at the cabin, I was up late because I was like, no, I need to do this on the inside. No, I need to do this on the outside. No, I need to, because I wasn't following the video because I couldn't. So, and I had an image in my head because I saw the final product from all these other creators that were making them. So I was like, this is not what they made. I need to do that. So I kept going off of my head. And I feel like I did a good thing. I had to hand sew the lining, had to hand sew the sizing, everything. It was just one of those things where it's like, had to really wing it because I couldn't just bring a sewing machine up there. So for a first try, I don't think this is bad. I know that with more practice, it'll be better. I know that the lining will fit a little bit better. I know that there's a lot of things that will look really good. Well. But for someone who just had to eyeball it and wing it, I think I did very well.
Yeah.
And this is not me trying to toot my own horn. I'm very proud of myself. I tried something new and it didn't turn out horrible. And that's not easy to say when, even for people who are just like, you're so good at it. There's times where it's trial and error, trial and error, trial and error, because you love something, but you have a vision and you're not going to stop till you get it right.
Exactly.
And it's not just perfectionism, it is chasing the goal.
Yeah.
And I think anyone who is someone who sees something in their head and they want to chase after it knows when you finally get it. And I'm very proud of this. So I'm hoping to see whether this is something that people want to buy from me. Because, yeah, I'm very proud of this. And again,
it's very, very nice. I like the clasp too.
Yeah, and for anybody who isn't familiar with a lot of hardware, metal hardware, a lot of it is actually miniature on the millimeter screws and needing actual millimeter screwdrivers, something that I had not brought, but luckily in our location, the owner of the trailer did have.
Yeah.
So, and they're a kit,
Worked
so
out great.
it was lucky because I was desperate to get this done, and the idea that I did not have everything, it's like a kid with a toy that apparently needs a battery set, and you thought that it came with everything. Oh, Lord, was I frustrated. So, yeah, just as for anyone who doesn't know, if you get hardware like this, a lot of time it's on the millimeter screw level of little things. And yeah, for it to not show on the other side, I just kind of sewed a little bit of the fabric over it so that you didn't see the details. So, yeah, I'm very proud of this. Just try the new thing, man. Just try it. Just see if you like it.
And it's not a verse.
Our quote or
Our
saying
quote today goes right along with that. The best gifts come from the heart, not the store. And that's said by Sarah Dessen, Lock and Key. I'm not sure
might
where I
have
got
been her
this.
book or something.
Yeah. So,
Movie.
the
I
best
don't know.
gifts come from the heart, not the store. And I always thought that too. Growing up, if somebody gave me something handmade, I probably still have it to this day because I love things that other people make for me. And not only that, but if it was my grandparents or my parents,
Yeah.
I wanted to keep that to remember them by.
Yeah.
So, I think people keep things that are handmade a lot longer than they do store-bought things anyway.
Yeah. Especially when I'm thinking about what it would have been like for you growing up as a kid, because Grandma and Grandpa Udall were such heavy craftsmen
Oh, yeah.
and artisans in the neighborhood, and they made things that sold well.
Yeah.
And Grandpa Udall was a carpenter, and Grandma Udall was someone who made things out of yarn and really special made stuff. So,
Right.
even if it was made out of a pattern, she did it well. Like, it was like every stitch was even. Everything was so, like, just so well done. So there is a sense of the best gifts come from the heart, not the store. I think part of this has because it's not that it's just a homemade thing that this quote is saying. It's about where it's coming from, because
The thought behind it.
yeah, because it's not that you can't buy something from the store and it means something. It's the intentionality. It's the you got that. That's yes. It's like knowing somebody's exact favorite scent, or that thing that just, oh, this reminded me of you, and so I bought it. And even though it was the $5 trinket, out of all the gifts that they got for their birthday, that's the thing that meant the most, because it wasn't about the amount of money. It was about the whole thing that you got me.
Yeah.
You saw me. You
Personalized it right to me.
Yep, and homemade gifts do that a lot more often, I feel.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean that is just the catalyst. It's the person, it's the giver, seeing who they are trying to give their gift to, and going by their heart to make it possible.
Yeah.
And so, because I feel like in a commercial, fast-paced a capitalized world that we live in, especially in America, there's a lot of fast-paced ideas of successful gift giving compared to getting to know the person and making it mean something.
Yeah.
You have the power to make something mean something,
And
not just by dollars.
And you should.
So, to quote it again, the best gifts come from the heart, not the store. Sarah Dessen, Lock and Key. I'm guessing that's from a book or something. Or maybe a movie. I don't know. But we're grateful for anyone who stuck around to see all this stuff this week. For anyone who's watched our previous videos and are like, hey, where are the previous whips that you guys were, showing off? And we were anticipating some final products shown here, or finished products, we likely will show them off next week. This has been a very off 2 weeks for us, and we're very grateful for all of you who have been waiting patient. So
Give this video a like, share it with your friends.
yes, and you know, you're never too young to have fun. You're never too, you know, you're able to be fun. You're able to have fun. You're able to just, you know, make it you. And I feel like a lot of the times when a lot of crafters are experiencing the joy of giving their inner child the ability to craft in a way that they were not able to as a child. I feel like with this, it's like you're able to play dolls in a way that you wish you had when you were a kid. For me, this is the level of art I wish I had been able to do as a child. Now I can, and now it's like, I don't care if it seems cartoonish. This is me.
Yeah.
I love this. So do it from the heart, make it your own, and we hope that you visit us next week. And until then, we hope that you stitch your way
To mental